Well, welcome back to AMX Global Season number 3. It's AMX 10, and what's more, it's Alex and Brad in the... We have some very special guests joining us here for tonight. It is, of course, Race 2 on Race Day 2, Alex. There's still plenty more chances to turn dollars so far this season, folks. But, Brad, we're here in the Eifel region, the Green Hell, the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit, and you know what? We've got some big surprises because we've got a team that's joining us, 3 of their drivers. And effectively, what that means is we have one of the powerhouses, if not the biggest powerhouse in sim racing, Team Redline. A few days ago, we're announced as a partner of AMX, and we've got 3 of their drivers joining us. Brad, it's good to see you again, buddy. It's been a long, long time. And look, I've got a Red Bull cap, you've got a Red Bull t-shirt, and of course, one of their boys, Max Verstappen, just secured his 9th pole position at the Japanese Grand Prix earlier on today. And what's more, we've got 3 of their drivers with us as well to boot. How's about that for a barnstorming announcement here on AMX Global for AMX 10 Race 2?
We said going into this season that AMX would stand out as the premier league in sim racing on iRacing. And then AMX just had to turn around and say, hey, by the way, we're going to get Team Redline to partner with us and just throw everything. I said it myself on Instagram earlier. I said, am I qualified for this? Like, this is this is hitting a tier where it's like, am I sure this is something I can do? But yeah, Team Redline's joining us here for AMX 10. This is going to be absolutely crazy, Alex. And it feels so good to be back commentating with you again. It's just like old times. Me and Reed said it Wednesday night. Some things change, some things stay the same. But this is about to be an absolute mad race.
Of course, we are at the Green Hell, the Nurburgring Grand Prix, and there are 2 of the drivers that are joining us tonight. Joining us from Team Redline, let's welcome along to AMX 10. We've got Ollie Steinbraten, Diego Pinto, and Gianni Vecchio, 3 of their finest drivers. Of course, Team Redline have been in competition in ESL 1 on Rennsport. But look at this. There's the season overview. As you and Reed discussed about earlier on in the broadcast, we listened to the community, we heard them, we went, right, we're going to give you a bit more time. We're going to give you 15 minutes for time qualifying. We're going to do a full reverse grid. Heat 1 is 15 minutes, then we up the ante. There's no league, there's no Premier Sim Racing League here in Sim Racing that does this. Doubles up the ante with 2 full reverse grids. And as you rightly said in Season 2, Brad, this is what makes AMX Global so special, and we're glad and really pleased to have brought it back for Season 3. Total prize pool estimated at around about 25,000 US dollars. Total of 36 race days, 72 races, 1 being AMX 0, 1 being AMX 10. So, with regards to AMX 10, we up the ante. Driver cams are required for all competitors. You get a payout of over $100 paid out at the end of each calendar month. Of course, we've got the Wednesdays, the Saturdays, and the Sundays. And if you want to join up, folks, head to amxrace.com. This is the premier, this is the top tier of sim racing. And we also have to say, Brad, that I mean, if anything, what was going on at Laguna Seca with the Radicals, we got GT4s here at the Nurburgring. How excited are you now that we got 3 of Team Redline's boys in the server right with us right now?
Yeah, having 3 members of Team Redline and being able to say that is just something crazy. And I love that not only have we listened to the drivers, we've moved things around, we've partnered with Team Redline, we've got Next Level Racing on board. The scheduling wise too, I think that the admin have done a very, very good job here at AMX of finding a schedule that's going to work to give more people more opportunities to earn money. And I know I've talked about this a bit. That's one of the big things with, I think, sim racing is finding that schedule that works for everyone. And I know, Alex, you and me commentating last season, there were some points where I would ask you, hey, what time is it for you over there? And you're like, it's just going on 1 a.m., getting ready for the first race. And now, look at this, 12:50 p.m., 2:20 p.m., 2:20 p.m. on the Saturday and Sunday race. We're going to get a lot more people on board and get a lot of involvement. And now, if you're wondering for European times, we kind of switched that over, and it's some good evening races. If you're a night owl, Thursday is going to be really, really nice for you if you like to stay up all night. Saturday and Sunday is going to be very, very convenient for you at 8:20 p.m. Central European time. And I think, Alex, that brings us to the big topic here for AMX 10, and that's prize pools.
Yes, indeed. $601 US. First position for qualifying, that nets you a cool $40. Heat 1 if you win, even if you're from the back of the grid right to the front. We've seen that quite a few times before. Another $40 US. Heat 2, full reverse grid again. But if you get the Grand Chelem, the Grand Slam, you get qualifying, you put it on pole. You win Heat 1, you get the fastest lap. You get Heat 2, fastest lap. That's a cool $122 in your prize pool. Of course, it's 10. At the moment, we're doing a bit of an offer, folks. The first 10 entries to AMX 10 per race at the moment is absolutely free, but they have been selling out like hotcakes. And at the moment, well, we were going to have a look at the earnings from AMX 10, but the AMX 10 champion, courtesy of our good friends over in Australia, Next Level Racing, the FG Elite Full Sim Rig is an extra prize for the overall champion. Big thank you to the Australian team. They support a number of some of the household names, such as G2 Esports, amongst others. In terms of providing top tier, and this is built to last. But you know what? I think at the end of the day, Brad, what we've got to look at now is, look, monthly promotion at the minute. First, and this is right up until the end of the month, folks. So race entries will be opening up on our website on a rolling basis. So you've got to be in it to win it, so to speak. You've got to be very, very fast on the left mouse click. So after the first 10 race signups per race, the race entry fees will go back up to the normal $10 per said race. And at the moment, we've got 18 drivers. We've got a host of different manufacturers on board at this particular circuit, which we're going to go through at the moment. We're going to talk about GT4, and then we're going to get into qualifying for the first bit of this race. So, Brad, you know what? I'm going to hand it over to you, buddy, because you are the man to talk about the track and the car class we're going to be racing in for this second race of AMX 10 for Season 3.
Looking at the track that we are hosting this second race here of AMX 10 in, it is the Nurburgring, which the GP. I don't think the Nurburgring needs much of an introduction. Germany, 1927. Over 5 kilometers. I don't think it needs a lot of an introduction there, but looking at the GP ring, it is constructed on the former side of the pit complex. And it was originally 12 turns. It was then revamped into the current 16-turn format. And then, of course, the signature section is that Michael Schumacher S in turns 9 and 10. Everyone knows this. There's variations of it. There's millions of races around this GT track, or GP stretch track. All the time. It runs GT and Endurance Series, World Endurance Championship, the 24 hours of Nurburgring when you combine it with the full Nordschleife. Absolutely beautiful track. And it seems very fitting that we are going to take the Nürburgring GP ring and we're going to throw it with an iconic class in iRacing, the GT4s. The back of that Aston Martin is my favorite thing of a car. I am a very, very big fan of the back of an Aston Martin Vantage. It's 5 different cars: Porsche 718s, BMW M4s, McLaren 570S, my personal favorite, Aston Martin Vantage GT4, which is my favorite to look at, and then the Mercedes AMG GT4. Ranges 350 to 500 horsepower, 1300 to 1400 kilograms, sequential gearboxes, rear-wheel drive. All of them vary in strengths and weaknesses for what they go through, but the big thing is pick one, figure out if you like it. If you do like it, go sling it around. They all boast similar times around, and they're all very similar in style. They all drive very differently. Different ones are going to suit you different. And Alex, depending on how you feel in these GT4s, you take these GT4s and then you step them up to GT3s, and then you go from there. But this is whenever people get into iRacing and they start looking at endurance racing and they start looking at how they want their road course careers to play out. They go one of two routes. They go open wheels or you go GT4s. I really, really love the GT4s at the Nürburgring. This is going to be a great, great race for us to watch, Alex.
Yes, indeed. Let's get underway with time qualifying for AMX 10. Race day 2 here on AMX Global's official YouTube and Twitch channel. Thank you so much for joining us. Big shout out to our good friends at BenQ who will be providing the replays as we get underway with qualifying. So we've got all 3 Redline BMW GT4s in a row at the minute. Gianni Vecchio leading the way. Parts Italian, also resides in Germany. Had the opportunity of commentating on him back at the ADAC Sim Racing Expo alongside former Redline alumni Max Benecke, who is currently racing with Mouse Esports. Max Benecke for a number of years was one of the talisman drivers along with that. You can see they're starting to back everybody up, ready to go through the final corner out of the Vidal Chicana. So already the first dice are being thrown here at the Nurburgring. So we have BMW, Mercedes, Porsche and Aston Martin represented. Some of the finest GT4 machinery you'll see. Diogo Pinto, one of many drivers of Team Redline's current lineup, also was the Tag Heuer Porsche Esports Super Cup 2022 champion, and along with current teammate Chris Lullum, took the win at the 6 Hours of the Glen, powered by VCO. Also the fact that Ole and Gianni were alongside a certain man that just secured his 9th pole position in Formula 1 this season, the man set to become a successful 3-time Formula 1 world champion, Max Verstappen, at the iRacing 24 Hours of the Nurburgring Nordschleife back in May of this year. Also Team Redline, well, what haven't they won? VCO Esports Racing World Cup, they've won both of them. Le Mans Virtual Series, GTE and LMP class winners, series winners in 2022, and capped it off by winning both the 24-hour Le Mans Virtuals that year. They're also a powerhouse in ESLR1, the latest league that has come out, powered by the Rennsport simulation as well. But Gianni Vecchio and Diogo Pinto trading fastest sector times. Vecchio fastest in sector 3, Diogo Pinto also an R-Factor 2 specialist as well. So the good thing about the teams at the drivers at Team Redline is that they are multi-adaptable, multifaceted. And one of the things, folks, you're going to see is a certain I rating. Now, we saw 9.5k I rating on a certain Gael Valero, who is in this at the moment. But wait until you see Diogo Pinto's I rating, which he managed to accomplish in June of this year. He actually hit 10k, and that's unheard of. Pinto goes top of the timesheets. Steinbraten, the Norwegian, goes second, and then Gianni Vecchio goes P3, but Belziti goes 4th behind Kieran Harrison, who just jumps into P3 on a 2-minute 6.553. And Diogo Pinto straight away returned to garage and then popped straight out. But I like what we've done with, you know what Reed was saying a little bit earlier on as Gael Valero goes up into P6 on a 2077. The fact that we're able to listen to the league. We've even had drivers from the league actually say about stewarding protocols, which has actually been something that we have been thinking about, and we are getting constructive and positive feedback toward that, aren't we?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things too, when you start stepping into big leagues like this, you start looking at that sort of, how are you going to set that up? Because the stewarding part, it takes, the broadcast is one thing, but then getting the stewarding post-race or during race is a whole nother league of its own. I do want to say shout out to everyone at AMX that has put in so much work in the background to get things like that going as we watch the black and gold Fabrizio Belziti going around the track there in the Mercedes. But yeah, watching that stewarding get set up has been something really fun to watch in the background, and I've personally kind of given my thoughts on it. Again, if you're not in our Discord, that's where a lot of the behind the scenes and conversation happens. It's where you can have your impact on this AMX Racing League and really make it into a league that's by the drivers for the drivers, that we just have the honor and the luck to just be involved in and get to broadcast and commentate. Again, jump on the Discord and join. But that's going to be where you can have your feedback. And I've given my feedback. Other drivers have given their feedback. I know it's something that's being discussed and maybe set up is not maybe, it will be set up in the future, and it's just a matter of getting everything in place for it. Alex, you talked a lot about Team Redline, and I am, again, slightly starstruck to see them on track here for a race that I'm commentating. But I think one of the things we're going to watch, especially with them being up their top 3, that we're going to kind of watch and see mixed up as they hold that number 1, 2, and 3 in that gorgeous black and red livery. We're going to see them work with each other a lot, I think. And it's going to be something that we don't see a lot in AMX. A lot of times when we see the drivers, we see the Brazilians and Argentinians, we see a lot of them, but they don't work with each other a lot. They are running each other, they're pushing each other, it's every man for himself, and when there's money on the line, that makes sense. But we're going to see Team Redline show a little bit of teamwork, and we saw it a bit there during the out and their first push laps, kind of swapping positions based on who's doing what, giving each other drafts, pushing each other along a little bit. We're going to see a lot of that through the duration of this 15-minute qualifying, and I think through both of our 15-minute heats, we're going to get to watch that as well. We're going to see them really push each other along and kind of keep things moving, because ultimately for Team Redline, too, they're here to earn money just the same as every other driver. So they're going to be chasing the 1, 2, 3 as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go back to jog your memory a little bit when we had a bit of a DM fest on Discord, you and I, talking about maybe Max might join us for a race. Well, folks, you never know. He is currently in Japan. He's probably sleeping at the minute because they're about the same time zone as our friends over at AMX HQ in South Korea. And Nico Godoy has brought the Comedy Joe's Jester nose out this time. Well, he had a flashing hat earlier on in AMX 0 earlier on. Now he's gone with the Clown Jester. Is he doing a bit of a Krusty the Clown impersonation? All he needs to do now is get some face paint on. But his wonderful beard that we've seen in previous seasons has definitely made a welcome reappearance. I mean, I remember one time we saw him bearded one night, and then the next one, he'd shaved all it off, and he had this glorious, Zorro-style mustache on the top lip. The only thing that I'm disappointed about in the Radicals, Fabio Zampolini, bring the eyelashes back. It went viral on our AMX Global social medias, particularly on Instagram, if I remember correctly.
I believe it was Instagram, yes, and it was very, very cool to see that go through. I'm kind of just keeping my eyes. There's a lot of stuff going on, Alex. Trying to keep my eyes on everything through. And I'm really trying to watch because, surprisingly, Team Redline does not have as much of a pace advantage as I thought they were going to have through this race, or through this qualifying session. Harrison's up there, Belziti, Gaio Valero, Jackson Rasinje. They're all putting in very, very close times, and this is a lot closer of a qualifying than I think I was expecting. And I hate to phrase it like that, but when you say that you're bringing in, 3 of the greats of sim racing, it becomes one of those where it's like, okay, we're going to really, really see where things are. But there's a lot of competitive driving going on here on the session currently.
Yeah, quite interesting. Diogo Pinto, highest I rating that we've ever seen on AMX Global, 9.9k. Gianni Vecchio and Ollie Steinbraten both have 9.6 apiece, so they've all got a slightly higher rating than ALT's Gaio Valero, who has been a tour de force. I still remember some of the battles that he was having in Season 2, which was absolutely incredible. We've got the likes of Thomas Reb, who's currently sitting 15th at the moment. Rafael Blanco, 13th, the Uruguayan, nearly 1.3 seconds off of the fabulous Fabio Zampolini in the 327 from Duckhawk Racing. Has been putting a lot of hard work into his racing at the moment. We've got 4.5 minutes to go. So it's Vecchio from Pinto, Steinbraten. Harrison only just over a tenth and a half slower than Steinbraten in third. Belziti, Gael Valero, Jackson Resenje, who is one of the Texaco Esports by TK drivers, also had the opportunity to compete in the E-Stock Car Pro Series, the Brazilian touring cars, which of course Tony Canan now is committed with Texaco Racing, part of Full Time Sports. Caio Gaspar, one of our Season 2 honour guards, so to speak. He basically ruled the roost, and he's just gone P7. We see Thomas Rapp in the American down in the bottom left-hand corners of your screen at home, folks. So don't forget, get involved in the chat, whether you're on Twitch, whether you're on YouTube. We want to hear from you. We want to hear who you're supporting. But with 2.5 minutes to go, fastest lap time of anybody, and it's by just over 2/10. Gianni Vecchio running under the Italian flag this time, of course, proud of his Italian heritage. 2 minutes 5.614 by the number 2 BMW, as he's just made his way back out onto track, not to compromise anybody, just keeping out of the way. That's a very good ploy there from Gianni as he makes his way through the Mercedes AMG arena. But this particular circuit has been in use in its current configuration since 2000, and the GP's I have to say, Reed, I have to give you a shout out, buddy. Your best effort of the Nurburgring so far in terms of pronunciation, Nurburgring. That's the benefit of being an 8th German and knowing the language. But you know what? I'm not gonna throw Reed under the bus. He's done a great job. And obviously, he's one of the guys behind the scenes. We have to give a shout out to Jakob and TJ. Also, they've put in a lot of hard work, as have all the team at AMX Global. So big thanks to the guys and girls in Korea at the HQ for bringing Season 3 together.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot, but it really is a big group project behind the scenes to get this on board. And with everything that's been done in the off-season, you can see the quality has stepped up. And it's been amazing to watch things go through, because then you get action like this at the Nürburgring that's on board. Gaio Valero driving a Porsche. Good taste in car, good taste in track. I'm just saying, a Porsche at the Nürburgring, it just kind of makes sense to me. Probably a good combo. Gaio Valero here, though, one of our 2 drivers in the lobby that have a pro road license. The other one, of course, being Diogo Pinto with Team Redline, is going to have his work cut out for him today, I believe. But we haven't even mentioned this yet, Alex, and it's the big crown jewel of everything. It's reverse grid, so you qualify as fast as you can, earn those dollars into your wallet, and then if you qualify first place, we're going to throw you in the back of the pack. So what does that mean as our current standings are? Our 3 boys from Team Redline get to start bottom of the grid for our first 7-lap, 15-minute heat. And what does that mean for us? We get to watch Team Redline fight last to first.
Yep, more bang for your buck, folks, because we're coming down towards the final few moments of time qualifying for AMX 10 Race 2, ahead of heat number 1, which will be 15 minutes or 7 laps. This 3.2-mile circuit. Current lap record holder in race lap terms, of course, it's one of the guys that are part of Team Redline. It's Max Verstappen. So, you know what? He will have told these guys, right, this is what you need to do. This is how you approach this corner. This is how you approach that corner. But the good thing is, Team Redline had the opportunity to go and visit Max at his home circuit, no less, earlier on this season, at Circuit Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix. And having a look at Team Redline's socials, of course, Team Redline has been in operation for over 2 decades. 2 decades. I mean, just take that in for a second, Brad. That is immense. They've been one of the longest, if not the longest, serving sim racing team that I know of. And they're such a powerhouse as well.
I'm not going to age myself here as we're going into the dying moments of qualifying for how long ago 20 years was for me. But I can tell you that 20 years ago, I was eating applesauce and mac and cheese. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, so there we go. Qualifying completed. And that means that Gianni Vecchio puts it on pole, picks up 40 cool US dollars, and gets slammed straight to the back of the grid for heat number 1. It's going to be a 15-minute, 7-lap race here at the Nurburgring Grand Prix circuit. Of course, the Nurburgring in the Eifel region, it's not too far outside of the town of Nuremberg. There's your qualifying results. Gianni Vecchio takes pole position, picks up 40 US dollars. Big thank you as always with BenQ. Check out their Mobius range with the EX monitors that have up to a 144 Hertz refresh rate. Diogo Pinto will be lining up alongside him on the back row of the grid. Ollie Steinbraten, Kieran Harrison, they're going to complete the back 4. Ahead of them is going to be the likes of Gaio Valero, who is 5th. Half a second off of Gianni Vecchio's lap time there in qualifying. Kaya Gaspar, then we got Fabrizio Belaziti, Jackson Resenji, Mauricio Lozano and Facundo Rago rounding out the top 10. Pedro Mura, Fabio Zampolini, Rodrigo Zowski, Rafael Blanco, Laui Santi, Nico Godoy, Thomas Rep and William Dini, the Brazilian, did not set a lap time but did go out on track, so he does make it into qualifying. and into the heats, he's going to start from the front. Now, GT4s, folks, are mainly production-based cars. Not much has changed apart from some of the aerodynamics, but they are really, really fire-breathing. And here is the grid. William Deeney on pole position in the reverse grid, first heat, ahead, alongside, from the Virginias, Thomas Rep from the USA, Nico Godoy and Lauri Santi, row 2, Rafael Blanco and Rodrigo Lizakowski on row 3, Fabio Zampolini, Pedro Mora, row 4, Facundo Rago and Mauricio Lozano, row 5, Jackson Resenge, Fabrizio Belziti, Kyle Gaspar, Gael Valero, Kieran Harrison, and our 3 boys from Team Redline, Oli Steinbraten, Diogo Pinto, and at the back of the grid, Gianni Vecchio. Bring it on, Redline in the fold, AMX kicks it up another level, and what's more, it is at many of these manufacturers' home circuit here in the Nurburgring, not too far from Munich, not too far from Weissach, and not even too far from Stuttgart or Affalterbach. But they come out of the Vidal Chicana, the pace car is in the pits. We're ready, set to go racing here for Heat 1 of AMX 10. Race 2, it's going to be a bit of a lunge going down into Yokohama as now we get the race underway here at the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. Thomas Rep leads the field, Lauri Santi in second, Blanco in fourth ahead of Zampolini. Nearly 4 abreast heading into Yokohama for the first time in the midfield. And Zampolini gets swapped. Oh, dearie me, not what you wanted, Lauri Santi. One of the red line cars gets collected. I think that might have been, I'm not too sure who that was. Dini ended up DNFing, and that is Diogo Pinto, who got caught up in the crossfire. He might end up returning to garage. Gianni Vecchio sprung from the back of the grid, and he's now 8th. And we're not even halfway through the opening lap. That's how crazy it's going to be with Redline with us, guys and girls. But what a start. Steinbraten 11th at the minute, up from 17th. So that is the quick. Now, Gael Valero, you now have a point to prove. Get your backside and your elbows out, battling with Team Redline here on AMX 10.
Gael
more
Valero
dramas.
Settling in, and
More
there's
dramas.
another spin.
Oh my goodness.
I believe that was Kyle
I
Gaspar, Alex. Oh
yeah, and Diogo Pinto's in the pits. He's been in there for 45 seconds. There's a Kowski also in there. Facundo Rago's got off as well in the Mercedes. Oh, heavens to Betsy, what on earth is going on? And now you've got Oli Steinbraten trying to get through. That is on Thomas Rep. He's got past on Kieran Harrison, and they're going. This is how you throw Team Redline in the mix. And that is Gianni Vecchio past Pedro Mora for, get this, not even lap 1 completed, Gianni Vecchio from stone dead last to 5th as they come out of the Vidal Chicana. He's going to get 2 for the price of 1 if he comes round. He's going high, wide and handsome as Gianni Vecchio. He's going to try and get the power down out of the final corner. He's even gathering up more pace. Look, it's 2x2 hurrah. Vecchio's looking to split them in the middle, and that's going to be second. That's going to be second. Oh, no! Three-way tangle down the start-finish straight. And that was the number 14 that got caught up, Nico Godoy. Oh, dearie me. And then, honest, I think Redline, they know how rough and ready it can be. I don't think they were expecting that. Gianni Vecchio's dropped all the way down the order. Oh, no! And that's both Redline cars coming into contact through the Mercedes AMG arena. Oh, my heavens to Betsy. I mean, if that's not an AMX Global welcome from all these drivers, yeah, they might have 9.6, they might have 9.99 rating. We're gonna welcome them to AMX 10. Well, guys, all I'm gonna say is never count Redline out. Now, I think Diogo's called it quits. Rodrigo has also been in for the same amount of time. Gianni's been in the pits for 23 seconds. He was that close to getting from last to first within the opening lap and a quarter. That just shows the skill level of who Team Redline brought tonight. Right, we're going to have a look at the replay on the... Yeah, go on. Right, quick, we've got the replay coming in for the first lap corner. This is the BenQ replay. 5 wide into Yokohama. And then, all of a sudden, round goes one of the AMGs. There's the number 16, that's Thomas Rep. Clatters into the side. That's Diogo Pinto in the number 3. He sustains terminal damage. Steinbraten gets through. By this point, Vecchio's already up 8 places. Now into the Vidal Chicana. That's Thomas Rep battling with 130. That is actually Valero battling away with Kieran Harrison, the number 16, running the KUS Team 75 Bernhard livery. Bernhard, of course, Team 75 run by multi-time Le Mans winner and also sports car legend Timo Bernhard. But at the moment, Fabrizio Balazitti is leading the way by about 3.3 seconds ahead of Jackson Resenci. That is Rafael Blanco, Mauricio Lozano, Pedro Mora, and the man in the bottom left-hand corner of your screens in 6th, the number 33. Mauricio Lozano's just had a little bit of a moment. So is Kieran Harrison. They're just, when we say they're having a little bit of a moment, what that means is, folks, they are effectively having an off-track excursion.
Yeah, watching the drivers have a little moment, to us it's like, oh gosh, they're about to wreck. And to some of these drivers, it's like, just a little flick. It's fine, no big deal. Kind of watching this through, Alex, part of the fun of you picking up the heavyweight for the start of that is I was able to kind of watch things from a few different perspectives. One of them being watching Team Redline's Twitch stream themselves as they streamed that beginning and watching when Pinto and Vecchio got taken out, just seeing the hands thrown up, and they are laughing, they are loving this. This is competitive in a different way. It's hard to vocalize, it's hard to explain to someone if you're not racing it, if you're not a big day-to-day sim racing person, and trying to explain, well, this is a different level of fun and competition. Like, it's hard to vocalize that, but it truly is. And when we say, hey, you got your AMX welcome, they have their AMX welcome, and now we get to watch, them being in the back. What does that mean for us when we hit Heat 2 here in about 5 laps? It means they're going to start at the front, and then they get to kind of just say, well, here's your Team Redline welcome. Bye-bye. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Yeah, well...
Get a contact there.
That's squeezing it right through the middle right there. Through the Vidal Chicana, through what was known as... The problem is with racetracks with corner names, they get changed so often. The last corner has been known as Coca-Cola, Hyundai N-Curva, the Yokohama at Turn 1 used to be known as the Haughaken, named after ex-Mercedes Motorsport boss Norbert Haug. But here is the battle between Harrison, Blanco, Mora, Gaspar at the back end. Gaspar's just set the fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes 6.671. He's within 3/10. They come out of the AMG arena. Gaspar looking rather menacing on the back bumper of the Aston Martin of Mora at the minute. I am watching watching the Team Redline stream at the minute. They've got about AMX Global, you cheeky sausages. They went. The assassination attempt was unsuccessful. Brilliantly timed. And they went. But it's great that they're enjoying it, and I've just seen Gianni just laughing his head off. It's just great. It really is good to see that Team Redline being great sports. Right, here we go. Here is a BenQ replay coming up of the incident involving the man Gianni Vecchio. So this is coming through the Yokohama S's. Now this is the first angle. It's 3 wide. He gets a touch and gets turned around. That was by, I think that was an Aston Martin. That was Pedro Mora. And
it was.
Oh, that was the second contact. That was when I think Diogo hit him, and Diogo also got terminal damage. So we're going to see on board now from Fabio Zampolini, Ole Steinbraten, the Norwegian Viking of Team Redline, going towards the outside of Advan. Oh, that's crazy. 200 plus kilometers an hour. Oh, bit of a wiggle under braking there, Fabio. Ole Steinblatter looking up the inside of the chicane, door handle to door handle, scrubbing off a little bit of paint. Fabrizio Belziti pumps in the fastest lap of the race. We're on to lap 5 out of 7. Jackson Resenge responds with the fastest lap of his own, with a 2-minute 6.533. And you can see the damage on the front of Ole Steinbratten's BMW M4 GT4. Great great partnership placement there for the logo with regards to AMX being under the headlights of the BMW M4 GT4. Round the outside, through into Yokohama. Now Ole's going to get the switch back through into the Mercedes-AMG Arena on the Aston Martin of the 327. Fabio Zampolini checking his left-hand side monitor on his triples. And Ole Steinbratten has gotten through, but Fabio, is he going to get the run? Is he going to get the cut back? No, he doesn't. And look at the front. Look at his face. Look at his face. His voice is like, man, he did me. Man, he did me.
Alex, I'm going to tell you right now, as a sim racer, if I was in Fabio Zampolini's spot, I would have been well out of the way and left it alone, because I do not want to be the person known to wreck one of Team Redline. Pedro Mora, if you're listening, you might want to hide later, just in case any fans of Team Redline decide they want to have a conversation with you after. Meanwhile, Alex, let's jump back forward here after that great battle. Let's look at this battle for P4, because it has just continued to heat up here between Lozano and Harrison. This has been a battle, Porsche versus Mercedes. And I will say, Mercedes has a little bit more power. It's a little bit heavier. Corners aren't its specialty, and that's where the Porsche's really seeming to do Lozano in. But the Mercedes there of Lozano is just able to kind of put a bit more power down and go. But Harrison is giving it his all here. And I'm wondering how long it's going to take Harrison to set up a move here to get around.
Yeah, 718 Cayman GT4 mid-engined as opposed to the front-engine car of Lozano. Harrison looking up the inside of the final corner. And the Porsche gets through. The Brit gets through. That's for 4th place. Kieran Harrison, he's made up 11 positions up from 15th on the grid. Gael Valero has also made up 11 positions from 14th. As picture in picture, we see the battle for P11. Steinbratten in 11th, ahead of Zampolini. And just ahead of him, in 10th position, is the Brazilian Laui Santi in another BMW. A little bit clumsy there from Kieran Harrison, but he uses the curbing very nicely through Yokohama to keep that position ahead of Mauricio Lozano from Italy, who has a little bit of a runoff coming through the Mercedes-AMG Arena. And there is Ole Steinbratten closing in on Laui Santi through the Mercedes-AMG Arena. This is for 10th place on the road. Ooh, was that a little bit of a love tap? A cheeky love tap from Ole Steinbratten on Laui Santi? I think it might have been. He was trying to late brake. He's going to get a good run coming out of there. And Laui Santi instantly goes, right, you're going to have to do better than that, Ole, to get past me. There's Ole in the bottom left-hand corner. Another little love tap from behind from the Norwegian. And you can see the smile on his face like, hello, remember me.
It's just a wake-up call. It's just a little bit of a, hey, are you awake in front of me? Are you there? Just making sure, kind of urging Santi along there a little bit. Santi's going to go inside defensive here, but Steinbratten around the outside. Team Redline here, a lot of grip, and you can see Santi just pushes him as wide as he can. Now watch Fabio Zampolini, because Fabio Zampolini is going to look for a little bit of revenge, a little bit of bragging rights. How nice would it be to say, hey, I passed Team Redline on track in battle? Zampolini's going to be looking for that little bit of a statement there as this battle between Santi and Steinbratten continues on. As they dive down, there it is around the outside, and you can't hold him back for long, and now Zampolini's got to get a little bit of a move on around Santi as well.
Yeah, he's got to get a little bit of a wriggle on here as Fabio. Fabio, bring a more colourful livery on the Radicals next time, please. We really do miss them here at AMX Global. They've been absolutely token, but Duck Hawk Racing probably said, Fabio, you've got to run a spec livery now, mate. Sorry. Your invoice is in the post for what you've done over the years. Oh, right. That is Mr. Blanco off the circuit now in the Mercedes. That was coming out of the Vidal Chicana, so not been a good one for the Uruguayan there, I'm afraid. But yeah, not too far behind him. Well, about 7.1 seconds behind him is Nico Godoy, Mr. Colourful Hats of AMX Season 3. We'll see how things go over the course of this particular race, because we have the white flag out And Belziti is leading Jackson Desenje, and it's really been kind of stable over the course of the race, hasn't it, Brad? 3.4 seconds at this juncture.
Yeah, we've hardly talked about the front of the field, and when you're someone in the front of the field, you don't want the commentators to talk about you. If you've ever heard of the commentators curse, it's the fear of all drivers. But the front of the field has stayed fairly stable through. Everyone's really kind of held on a bit as much as they can. Once those drivers up front got to the front, they've really kind of settled in. And the action's really been mid and backfield, which is what we've watched all the way through. And as I say that, Lozano on Gaspar fighting very, very hard through. Gaspar trying to get the run here up the inside, not able to get against Lozano there, and is going to have to kind of hold on for just a second. He sets his car up very, very well. Gaspar looking at a bit of a switchback. Yeah, front of the field stayed stable, and now we're going to put him at the back. And unfortunately for the rest of the field, we're going to put the boys at Team Redline up in the front and see how that goes.
Yeah, indeed. Not too long now, because we're coming towards the final few corners. Battle between Lozano and Gaspar, heading into the final chicane. But out of the... Oh, Gaspar got through. But it's going to be out of the final corner. Belziti is going to take the win. $40 in his pocket here at AMX 10, race 2, heat number 1. And Gael Valero from 14th to 11th on the grid. That just showcases the prowess of him. Harrison, Gaspar, Lozano, Maura, Rago, Steinbraten from Team Redline with a very battered front end of the BMW M4. Comes across the line ahead of Fabio Zampolini, Laui Santi, got rep. Blanco Godoy about to cross the line. And then there's Lizakowski in the rumbling Mercedes AMG coming out of the final corner, and there will be 15 drivers that complete the race, all picking up Benjamins in their pocket. But how about that for an opening race? And welcome to AMX Global Team Redline. It's great to have you guys along for the show. And also, like Brad said, we're keeping an eye on. So Fabrizio Belziti is our BenQ session winner for AMX 10 Race 2. Heat number 1, he's going to start at the back of the grid. Jackson Desenje, Gael Valero, Kieran Harrison, Kyle Gaspar, that's your top 5. Brad, why don't you take us through the rest of the results right the way down to 18th.
Yeah, watching the race all the way through, Mauricio Lozano, very, very good run there from the CLK Esports driver. Pedro Mora in the Texarkana Racing, a little bit of contact with Team Redline, but when it came down to it, was able to hold on to a good P7. Facundo Arago with the Voracious Sim Racing team, able to hold on to P8 there. Steinbraten, the one of our 3 Team Redline drivers, able to battle his way up into P9 after jumping all the way up to the top 5 within the first lap and then getting knocked all the way right back down in true AMX style. Fabio Zampolini, the fabulous Fabio, finding his way for the Duck Hawk Racing there in top 10. Laui Santi, P11, the Duck Hawk Racing teammate Thomas Rep, P12, Rafael Blanco, P13, Nico Godoy, P14, Rodrigo Lazowski, P15, Vecchio, P16, Pinto, P17, the 2 Team Redline drivers that will now find their way up into the top 5 respectively for them and find their way through. And then that is going to be a good sign for them. They get a few minutes here, a 5-minute warm-up session. They get to kind of run around after some intense racing, kind of just relax a bit, really kind of get themselves loosened back up and go back in for a run as we watch the number 2 and 3 here from Team Redline kind of just run with each other. They're going to kind of just relax a bit, get ready for this next 7-lap, 15-minute run here to see what they can do starting at the front, which is probably where they're used to being, and see them stay up front this time.
You know what? I'm really jealous of you, Brad, because I've gone old school. You've got the brand new sort of Castor Red Bull Racing t-shirt, man. Absolutely glorious. But you know what? I mean, it's so good to have Team Redline alongside with us here at AMX Global. We have to say a big thank you to all the people that have been working behind the scenes, our partners. Upbit, Automanics. Of course, we have mentioned about BenQ. You have to check out the Mobius range of EX monitors with up to 144 hertz refresh rates, HDRI inputs as well, so it's even clearer. You've also got noise cancellation microphones and speakers around your Mobius monitors, and of course our good friends over in Australia, Next Level Racing. I've actually tried out some of their gear, and even from the the GT Lite Pro that we're giving away for the AMX Zero Champion, but the FGT Elite that we're giving away for AMX 10's champion in season 3. I mean, that's worth $1,000 folks. And are you going to give that away? But are you not going to use Reed's credit card to get the travel? Are you going to use TJ's credit card to get the travel instead?
TJ's credit card does the travel, Reed's pays for food and hotel, and then I'm personally going to throw it at you. That's a good workaround, I think. I think that works. TJ, Reed, if you all are listening, I hope you agree to that. I think our drivers would enjoy it.
I think they wouldn't enjoy multiple packages being thrown in a general direction, but if you're there, they'll go, well, it's completely worth it. One of the casters came along to my home personally and delivered it and dropped it right in my face. But we're not that far away from heat number 2 here for AMX 10 Race 2. We've got more action coming up tomorrow night, so we'll have Race 3 for both AMX 0 and AMX 10. Now, we have talked about something that we haven't really... we discussed actually on a FaceTime call, you and I, earlier on, Brad, where we talked about you maybe getting behind the wheel. Is that going to happen on AMX Global Season 3? Please say it will happen.
It will probably happen. Let's say that. Let's just say there's some good races coming up of the left-hand only variety that I'm keeping my eyes on. I know during season 2 we had some NASCAR days that were just dedicated NASCAR. Let's just say that I like to keep my eyes on the left-hand turns. I've got some new sim racing gear that I want to try out myself. I might have to upgrade to a Next Level Racing sim rig before I do it. But hey, you'll catch me on track at least once.
Well, that's the main thing. So that means more than likely when you say probably, that's a 50-50 in my book. If you said maybe, it'd be more like 90-10. But the warm-up has been completed, and we have another full reverse grid race, folks. For race 2 of AMX 10, 7 laps, that's 15 minutes. If the first race was anything to go by here, Brad, it's anybody's guess what's going to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, the first race was a good indicator of just anything can happen and anything will happen. And it's a combination of the Nurburgring, it's a combination of AMX, it's a combination of iRacing, and it's a combination of just when you put money on the line, people are going to really go for it. As we look here at the starting grid order, Fabrizio Belziti down in P18, Jackson Racinje, big names in lots of out-of-place places. Fabio Zamperlini, P9. Ole Steinbraten will be starting P10 there, the number 1 car. And you can see there on the front edge of your screen, the Team Redline cars. They're in very, very good positions and should find themselves way forward just a bit here, Alex. It's going to be a very, very competitive second heat. Now, this is where we're going to start to see, some of that professionalism that we see from Vecchio and Pinto really show up. And we're going to see what other drivers are really experienced with that endurance racing run-throughs and see who can really land themselves in a good place as we watch this next 15-minute heat come at us, Alex.
Yeah, so there was your grid. Brad, take us through the start, buddy. It's heat number 2 here. AMX 10, race 2, here at the Nurburgring in GT4.
Yeah, drivers are going to pace their way through. This is going to be, you see a bit of swerving there, and that is going to be Steinbraten there in the number 1 car in P10, pacing through behind the iRacing Porsche pace car. Everybody trying to get a little bit of heat in their tires in those GT4s coming through the chicane. They're really, really trying to get comfortable. But it's going to be the boys at Team Redline up front as they bring us through the Coca-Cola curve here, formerly known Hyundai N curve, whatever you know it as, the final corner here of the GP circuit. And now Team Redline, they are holding that pace. This is the skill and the experience showing up, that 10,000 I rating hitting itself. They're going to hold everyone back until you hear the green, green, green from the spotters. Now you can see the lights flashing there from the Mercedes on the inside of, I believe that is Blanco trying to get a move going. There is going to be things through, and now as we dive down towards the Yokohama curve for the first time. They are just praying that nobody takes them out. It's their boy Steinbreiten back to back up into P6 with 3 wide through turn 1 as we hit the Mercedes arena. A little bit of carnage through, but everybody for the most part mid and backfield holding on there. It looks like we have lost one person, and it was supposed to be our pole sitter, Dini, not participating in Heat 2. As we come around the Mercedes arena here, it's the midfield where the action is. The boys at Team Redline already through. Steinbreiten already up to the P6. Mapito and Becca already pulling out time through in P1 and P2. Watch this, though. Steinbreiten around the outside through the left-hander of Valvoline into the forward curve, and they're really going to hold on to it here. He's setting things up, and you can see not necessarily staying right on the back bumper, trying to set up the better exit line, and here it goes side by side through. This is where we're going to see a lot of racecraft, a lot of skill come through around the outside and down into the braking zone, but in the back of the field where 2 wide, 3 wide, this is where the chaos is happening. 3 wide as they come into the right hander here of the Dunlop curve, holding on to it, and it looks like most part everyone made it through except for the wonderful Jackson Rasinje, taking a very unfortunate moment. Now watch this, Steinbreiten already passed Blanco. He's going to be setting this up again. How many places can he earn before the end of lap 1? That is the challenge, and I'd be willing to put money that he's going to be up in the top 3 by the time we're done here with lap 1.
Yeah.
Come around.
Rockets. Okay, developments. Mauricio Lozano has dropped down to 15th. Jackson just set. Oh, Lozano's gone off again. There's Nico Godoy. Oh, the red nose flashes. The red nose flashes for Nico Godoy, the Argentinian, as he was actually the one flashing the lights. It wasn't Blanco, it was Godoy flashing at Team Redline saying, "Oi, what you playing at?" But here comes Ole Steinbreiten towards the outside of Nico Godoy through the Hyundai N-curver out of the final corner. We're already on to lap number 2, and the gap between Gianni Vecchio and Rodrigo Liskowski in 3rd position now expands to 2.1 seconds. Steinbreiten on the inside of Godoy down the start-finish straight. This is the run into the Yokohama S's for P4, and the number 1 from Team Redline gets down the dip and gets through nice and neatly. Blanco and Drago are not too far from Godoy. Zampellini has got Caio Gaspar breathing up his rear exhaust pipe. It is changing quite a lot around this circuit. There is Facundo Rago in the number 95, ahead of Rafael Blanco. There's Kieran Harrison. Oh, drop at the back. That is Laui Santi round and backwards. That was not cricket right there. That was coming out of the Mercedes AMG arena. And, Diogo and Gianni have picked up the pieces of what happened in Heat 1. And, yeah, you know what? I have to say, good sports, Team Redline. Good sports for coming into this and having a bit of a laugh and a giggle. But also competing with many of the drivers that have been on the journey so far for quite a long time. Gaspar, Valero, Resenche, they've been with us for a lot of time, so they know how this league works. You will expect from someone, a team like Team Redline, to have a very, very steep learning curve, but they will adapt very, very quickly. That's what they do. Because considering the fact, who have they got in ESLR 1? According to Actual Vision, the most handsome man in sim racing, Italy's Enzo Benito, Kevin Siggy. You also got Jeffrey Rietveld and, of course, Luke Bennett, another one of the many Brits that are actually part of Team Redline, including the likes of Josh Thompson, Luke Browning, who's running in single-seaters originally from Team Fortilla, moved to Team Redline. Also, you look at the real-life drivers that are part of the alumni, Danny Hunkadea, Felix Rosenquist, Kelvin van der Linde, and the original world's fastest gamer, and racing in Porsche Carrera Cups these days, Rudy van Buren from the Netherlands. But now we see the battle between Rago and Zampellini, and that's Aston Martin versus Mercedes. Zampellini goes around the outside as if Godoy was standing. Oh, what's happened there to Facundo Rago? Not too sure what that might have been. Could that have been a slowdown, possibly?
It possibly could have, with the way he cut into turn 1 there. He was really trying to hold on to things, and it seemed like it was just pulled to the outside and stopped. I don't know if maybe it was just hit that turn wrong, lost the back end, and didn't want to take anyone else out. I'm not sure exactly what happened there, but pulling through. And now Steinbreiten, 5 seconds back, gets past Lazowski here, up into the top 3. So it's now Team Redline 1, 2, 3. And we'll see how Pinto and Vecchio do to back up a little bit here, or if they're going to tell Steinbrotten, okay, you've got 5 seconds, figure it out on your own.
I don't think that'll happen. They might just sort of, just for a little bit of fun, a little bit of laughs and giggles, they'll probably just say, right, let's just hold back a little bit because we want Ollie to catch up with us. And as you can see, Diogo Pinto, last year's iRacing Tag Heuer Porsche Esports Super Cup champion. Oh, nearly 4 wide. Who's in the middle of all of that? Kieran Harrison. You've got the likes of Zampellini, Gaspar, Godoy. Harrison round the outside. Round the outside there? That is ridiculous. Kieran Harrison, you've arrived in AMX Global by taking the wind out of the sails of a certain Alex Goldschmidt. My godfather's never in my wildest dreams, as we're going to be 3 wide nearly going into the Vidal Chicana. That is going to be Godoy up the inside. He's going to send it on Mora. Oh no! Mora's around and Godoy clatters into the side of him. T-bones the fellow Aston Martin through the chicane. Oh, dearie, dearie me. Not what you wanted to happen right there and then. But I think Nico Godoy has to count his lucky stars. He didn't get any more problems after that.
Very, very lucky for Nico Godoy to survive through that for the most part. This battle here in the midfield, and it's what we've seen every single race so far, and I'm absolutely loving it. The front of the field holding on fairly steady, but then the midfield just absolutely bunch up and make things chaotic everywhere. It makes for some good TV. It makes for some good show, I'm not going to lie. And it's very, very fun to watch all the way through. Right now we're watching Harrison, the man who can make Alex breathless. I'm going to see what else he can do, because that was that move took guts. It took skill. I think Harrison's going to continue with it as Gael Valero sends it up inside here against Blanco and gets around the outside here now. Holds on to it. Floors the Porsche. Sends it through, and now watch this. You've got the 2 Mercedes of Belzini and Nurago behind, just watching this battle, seeing if they can't get in on the mix as well, because the pass is still not done. Valero loses it out there against Blanco, so Blanco will now continue in P8. But watch this battle right here from P5. The Fabio Zampellini, fabulous Fabio, under pressure by Gaspar and Harrison. They are not making it an easy day for the Aston Martin driver. He is trying to hold on. Battle for first. I don't know if I'll call it a battle or not. I think they're just kind of pacing 1-2 right now. Just kind of holding on, but they are opening up a gap for the rest of the field. 5.9 seconds of gap between the 2 Redline drivers, Pinto and Vecchio, against Steinbrotten there in P3, who is continuing to open up a gap from Lazowski. So things are a bit, and they're kind of having a bit of fun here. Don't know if Redline said you're free to pass, free to race, but it looks like it. Look at that on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. As we watch one pass with Gaspar, Blanco, and Valero going around. We watch another pass between Team Redline and Vecchio. And a bit of contact there.
Harrison just T-boned Gaspar going into the Vidal Chicana. And Gaspar held it. Harrison spun himself around. That's allowed Rafael Blanco in the Mercedes to get through. Belziti right up the back bumper of the BMW. We ride on board in cockpit cam on the number 18, Mercedes AMG GT4 down the start-finish straight, heading into Yokohama. All that hard work Kieran Harrison had just done has just been undone quite spectacularly. He went for the move, there wasn't enough room at the end. And I'm sorry to say, Kieran Harrison, it's one thing to catch up to somebody, it's something completely different when you try and pass them.
There's been a quote going around the past couple weeks since the Singapore Grand Prix in Formula One. If you go for a gap, if you go for a gap, you're not a racing, or if you don't go for a gap, you're not a racing driver. And I think that was kind of the thought there that Harrison had, trying to put it into that gap, just wasn't able to hold on to it. And now Gaspar is just going to have to hold on here through with Blanco, Belziti, and Rago all hungry for the extra dollars behind. Valero 2 seconds up the road now, continuing to go. Zampellini's gotten a bit more breathing room now from this. That battle for P1 still raging, but this battle right here for P7 is really where the action's at, because this is where you really start to stack up the points the more forward you move. And we're just kind of watching the drivers settle in. They're trying their best to push through. And Belziti is doing a very, very good job at putting pressure on Blanco up the inside here. He's going to break very deep through, try to keep the run, and I think Blanco just knows he doesn't have enough to defend there, gives him the space. He's going to try to set up a move here, or maybe just tow along and try to get Gaspar again. And Rago is going to put some pressure now. It's 3 Mercedes back to back that are really pushing each other. And here we go, up the inside is Rago. He's able to get it there on Blanco before the chicane. And now they kind of settle in, and here we go for lap 6 of 7. An ultimate lap coming up, Alex, and I don't know what to keep my eyes on because there's so much happening at once.
Yeah, battles between Gaspar and Belziti, Rago and Blanco, that's for P7. Mauricio Lozano within 6/10 of Pedro Mora in the battle for P14. There is Gaspar. I think that T-bone from Kieran Harrison, who's now started to move a little bit further forward as Gaspar goes through Yokohama. Into the Mercedes AMG arena we go once again on the penultimate lap out of 7. The leader's now 30% of the way through that lap. Gap between Gianni Vecchio and Diogo Pinto, around about 0.4 of a second. Fastest lap of anybody, which actually in AMX 10, there's a replay in the bottom right-hand corner of your screens with regards to Mauricio Lozano from earlier on in the race. He's all the way down in the number 7 Mercedes, down in 15th position, started 13th on the grid, but Pinto's getting his elbows out. He's saying, Gianni, got this at this little last stretch, and then 3.2 miles to go. There's the face of concentration. Gianni Vecchio, multi-time iRacing special events winner, and also one of the many drivers that have cut their teeth, built their trade on iRacing, and that's why we're so pleased here at AMX Global when Team Redline's saying, yeah, we want to partner, and now we could get a last lap showdown through Advan for the penultimate time into the Vidal Chicana between Gianni Vecchio and Portugal's Diogo Pinto. Mounting the curves, back axle up in the air through the chicane for the penultimate time. But out of the final corner, it's 3.2 miles remaining here on Heat 2 of Race 2 of AMX 10, live and direct here on AMX Global. Vecchio looking to break the toe, and there's the replay, picture in picture. Harrison through on Gaspar, touches the right rear, then clatters the curbs, spins the right rear, then the back axle around, Pinto up the inside, and Vecchio looks for the late dive. Vecchio says, no, you don't. Come on, Diogo, we're teammates, but they're going to race hard, they're going to race fair. Out of the Mercedes AMG arena for the final time. 2/10, Pinto looking left, looking right, trying to affect the old Nigel Mansell dummy back in the 1990s in both Formula 1 and IndyCar, where he picked up the 1992 FIA Formula 1 World Championship, and then the 1993 IndyCar Series title back-to-back. No one in 3 decades has done it since. No, everyone loves a good old dummy, don't they? You know, fake left, go right, jobs are good.
Honestly, it's the best way to do it, and at this point it is boys, you are free to race here for the final lap. Just don't take each other out, but if you get past him, you get past him. And as we watch here, Vecchio and Pinto, this is such a good battle. Down in picture on the low right-hand side of your screen, you're seeing that battle for 11th there, and that is Resinje on Harrison. That battle has been down to the wire as well, as we watch here, as we come through for what could be a very, very good setup. We'll see how things hold on here with Vecchio and Pinto, but again, we're having to watch here Resinje and Harrison, both in Porsches as well, and look at this, Pinto just trying to set things up on Vecchio, not able to hold on here. Vecchio staying forward, staying ahead, keeping that gap a couple tenths, and they are just having the time of their lives right now. This has been a joy to watch and see the representation from Team Redline show up. 3 drivers, and in the second heat, the redemption strikes. They're going to finish 1, 2, 3 here, I believe. Bit of contact coming in on both sides here as we watch both side by side. Bit of swaps here, and they're really gunning for it. Look at this, Team Redline leaving nothing on the table. Teammates are not. This is all for the glory at this point. You can see the laughs going on there as Vecchio comes across the line into P1, Pinto P2. Steinbrotten still gets the gap down to 5 seconds. This battle for P11 is undecided as we come in to the chicane for the final time. And you'll see the dive there, and it looks like that is going to be Jackson Rasenje losing it there in the chicane, giving, I don't know if he gave that back to Harrison or for that was just a case of him losing it.
That was a slowdown. That was a slowdown. The car was slow coming out of the chicane from Jackson Rasenje. Side by side between Godoy and Lozano. Godoy picks up 14th. And Mauricio Lozano is 15th position, top 15 in every one of the AMX 0 and AMX 10 races. Pick up US dollars in their pockets, folks. As there we see, that is Thomas Rep, the number 20 from the good old the Nation of the Stars and Stripes, where you are very, very much based, Mr. Brad. But that is it. That is what has been two absolutely fantastic, chaotic races in GT4s here at the Nurburgring. Let's take a look through at the results here. There is your BenQ session winner. Gianni Vecchio from Team Redline, the number 2 from Italy, takes the win by 0.4 of a second. And it's a 1, 2, 3. Quelle bonne surprise. Was für eine Überraschung. Bringing my German into effect there, folks. I had to do it. I am virtually on home turf. I will be there in a couple of weeks' time, actually in person for those going to the ADAC Sim Racing Expo in Dortmund on the 13th to the 15th of October. Diogo Pinto and Ollie Steinbraten make it a 1, 2, 3 for Team Redline. Rodrigo Liskowski taking 4th ahead of Fabio Zampolini, Gael Valero, Caio Gaspar, Fabrizio Belziti, Facundo Rago, and also Rafael Blanco running at the top 10. Kieran Harrison, Jackson Rasenje, Pedro Mora, Nico Godoy, Mauricio Lozano, Laui Santi, Thomas Rep running at the 17th finished. William Dini unfortunately not able to take part in that race, but that concludes race 2 of AMX 10 here on AMX Global. You know what, Brad? It's great to have the boys at Redline. I can't wait to see who they bring along next time. You are hoping that we could have a man that tomorrow could make a bit of racing history for Red Bull, becoming the first driver since Sebastian Vettel to eclipse 2 Formula 1 world titles in Japan just tomorrow. I know if you're going to be watching it, it's going to be middle of the night. For me, it's going to be about 6 o'clock in the morning. But I think Gianni, Diogo and Ole got the AMX. Hello and welcome and join the fun. They've been laughing their socks off, haven't they?
Yeah, that was a very, very, very warm introduction that we gave them. I don't think it could have been much more of a process there to really see that for them, because that was very AMX of it. That's the best way to phrase it. It's very AMX. You know action's going to happen, and of course it's going to be the big names that get the big, hello, nice to see you, here you go, have fun, through. And I think, Alex, we're getting ready to set up for the point of we are going to see some more things, and I think we're going to get to hear directly from the drivers themselves and hear from Team Redline on how they felt being introduced in to AMX in such a, we'll call it a flashy style.
Yeah, very, very true. But also, it's the first time we're actually having interviews done here on AMX Global for Season 3. So we are waiting for some of the drivers. Hopefully, we're going to speak to some of the guys. So, I mean, let's just look back over what's been a chaotic AMX 0 and AMX 10. 4 races in total. 4 heats, 2 races. I mean, the format really has been the proof in the pudding. You know, we listened to the community. They want, we want more time. We gave them more time. And what have we had? We've had absolute madness, chaos, but we are the only league. We are the only premier sim racing league that's brought it to a next level by saying you qualify, you stick it on pole, you're at the back of the grid. You win that race, you're at the back of the grid again. So people have to work even harder. That's the true beauty of sim racing. In IRL, you cannot do anything like that, can you?
No, imagine, okay, let's picture this. Imagine you show up for a F2 weekend. You show up to watch Formula 2 races, right? And they already do some inversion in the grid anyways. And they say, okay, you're going to qualify on pole for the sprint race. We're going to reverse the grid, throw everyone last to first. And then you work your way in that sprint race back up to the front. We're going to reverse it one more time. And and we're going to throw you all the way to the back again. Someone tell me how that would work in real life, and that any driver you know would be up for that. Here's the fun thing with like everything with the league is that you get to see stuff like this. You get stuff like this to happen, and that's the fun with AMX. It's the embodiment of sim racing. We do things virtually that you can't do in real life to see what happens.
Well, folks, it's the first time this has ever happened, and you know what? We've got one of Team Redline's drivers that have joined us tonight. And without further ado, Brad's going to step aside, and I'm going to welcome into the interview box here on AMX Global a very warm welcome to Ole Steinbraten from Team Redline. Ole, can you hear me? That was definitely a very, very big old welcome for you guys at Redline to join us at AMX Global. You were the only one survived after heat number 1, whereas Gianni was about to take the lead after, I think, 1.25 laps. I was watching the stream from you guys at Redline, and Gianni was absolutely laughing his head off. Welcome to AMX Global, first of all, to all you guys at Redline, and it's great to have you on board. It's been a lot of fun for you boys tonight, hasn't it? To blow off some steam.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a really fun race, actually. Like, the first one was quite hectic with, all 3 of us getting damaged on the first lap. But luckily I survived and got up to P9. And that put me in a quite decent position for the reverse race as well. So it was really nice to get up to the podium position in the last race.
Yeah, but also, like looking at the stats, I mean, the fact that Team Redline's been on the sim racing sphere, one of the longest, if not the longest, sim racing teams, 23 years. Dom Doon's done a great job, obviously, with bringing drivers like yourself on board. And also the results that you've achieved this year, along with, like, say, Gianni this season. It just goes to show that they all have a lot of faith in everyone that they bring on board at Redline, don't they?
Yeah, it's been quite incredible to like get into this team, and like the knowledge the team have and like the way we work together is so good. And like immediately from the first race I had with the team, the results was super good. So I think it just like shows how good the team is working together and all that.
And also, with regards to jumping on board with Team Redline, the welcome that you got, how supportive have the family been when you said, yeah, I'm driving for Max Verstappen's sim racing team? And they go, what? The Max Verstappen? What were their first reactions?
I mean, it was quite unbelievable because, I mean, like me and my mom, my dad, and even my sister is like a big Verstappen fan. So when I was contacted by him and the team, it was, I mean, everyone was so happy. So that was really, really nice.
Brilliant. Ole, thank you very much for joining us tonight here on AMX 10. Hopefully we'll get to see you again soon, but good luck for the rest of the season on iRacing with Team Redline, and good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Okay, a big thank you there to Ole Steinbraten from Norway. Next up, we're going to bring in a man that we've commentated on quite a lot here at AMX Global. He's had some great races. We're going to bring in Francis Gael Valero from ART, because you're one of many, the guys that are at Apex Racing Team, the likes of Johan Half, Peter Berryman, the guys are now doing ESLR1, but you've been one of the stalwarts, especially on AMX Global. You've been right at the sharp end. What was it like when AMX made the announcement that Redline are coming in and you thought, right, here we go?
I was a bit pissed. The competition gets stronger.
Well, you've had a lot of competition with Caio Gaspar over the last couple of seasons, along with Victor Miranda, to name but a few. But to be back for season 3 and to have the opportunity for, more cars on the grid, bigger challenge, what does that mean to you as a sim racer to have that opportunity to really sort of fight for that prize money now?
We were already fighting for some prize money, obviously. But it's nice to have this kind of competition where you have people that come from a bit all around the world, and you have a lot of fighting on the track with all this grid reversed. So you have to manage a bit. as for me, well, sometimes I'll be there, sometimes I won't. Other priorities than AMX, sadly. But it's nice to see it come back once again, and that you are expanding that much. And with the red line announcement, that you get good partners on board.
And what do you think of the new format there, where we're having, instead of like a traditional couple of races in an evening, that we're splitting them up into heats and it's full reverse grid? So qualifying, wherever you position yourself, it's a case of, I've got to work a lot harder now. Okay, yeah, Redline have come onto the scene. They're partnering up with AMX Global. But if I put it on pole, I'm at the back of the grid for Heat 1. If I win that race, I'm back at the grid again, and then I've got to do double the work. And that's even harder in AMX 10, isn't it?
I mean, as long the races like all are worth it, like it's worth fighting in. You don't really mind if you start at the back and you make your way back in. It's the point is to make the most out of every races, and if you make the less of one and the most of the second one, well, maybe it will be better for some people, but since for fast people, I think like they can really go for the field. It's worth it to fight for every position. So it's quite a funny format. After that, I don't know. As long, every places are worth it, I don't mind. I don't think people don't mind.
Gael, thank you very much for having a chat with us. Finally get an opportunity to talk to you, and we'll see you again, I'm sure, very, very soon here on AMX Global. So merci beaucoup.
Thank you a lot. See you.
So a big thank you there to Gael Valero, having a chat with me in the interview room. We have got another interview lined up, so just bear with us just a moment, because we'll be getting our next guest in. Gianni Vecchio, good to have you with us. Well, welcome to AMX Global. I was talking with Ollie just a few minutes ago that you guys on your official Team Redline stream were laughing your socks off after what happened in race 1. It was all going so well for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was too bad. I mean, the pole was alright, and then the lap 1 was a bit chaotic. I don't know what happened, honestly. I got squeezed left and right, and my wheel tried to snap on me, break my fingers. Then I found myself into a different car, and just the same happened out of turn 1 into turn 2. I mean, it looked a bit ridiculous, but overall it was great fun. You could see it on our stream. We were just laughing all the time, smiling all the time. Then in the end, me and Diogo, I tried to throw the dummy to him to get pole for the second race. Actually didn't work, but as you could see, it was great fun. The second race was more about serious racing. Luckily, I could crack Diogo like a nut. So end of the day, it was good fun. I mean, for an hour of racing, there's not really much anything else better to do on a Saturday night.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously had the opportunity of meeting a former teammate of yours, of course, Max Benecke, when you guys were running at the Digital GT500 at the Sim Racing Expo last year. I'm not going to talk about what happened there, because you, me and Max, we all know what happened.
Yes.
But you know what? I mean, the good thing is that you and Ollie have become really, really good team. I mean, BMW M Sim Cup, let's say, for instance, round 6, GT3 P2. You both also won GTD in the 6 hours of the Glen by VCO. What does it mean for you to be a part of Team Redline, personally?
I mean, I'm super proud of that. I mean, that you can't really deny that. Being part of the best team in the world, obviously with Max as some sort of team manager, member, mentor. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of ways how you can call him, but it's just great to be part of such a nice group. What makes us so strong is just the fact that we get along with each other so well. We do quite a lot of things together. Even though we are like some sort of an esports team, the amount of times in a year that we meet up, have a good time, have some burgers at some stage. I think that's what makes us so good and so strong, that we have such a strong chemistry with each other, and that just makes me proud. I mean, there's nothing better than having fun all the time when you have to do races, or even when you do have to do practice. I mean, that can be tired from time to time, but yeah, if you are around the nice guys, it can be quite a lot of fun, and that's what makes it so special here in Redline.
It was a really good atmosphere with you guys when you went to visit Max at his home race at the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. I had a look on, obviously, Redline's social media. You all sat down for dinner. Can I ask, what exactly were you talking about? Was like Max asking, like saying, like, how have your results been? What tips do you need for this race or whatever? Or was it just like general friends talk? You know, because when you guys get together and you're sim racing, there's a lot of intensity. There's a lot of talk going on. Max always gets ripped about his granddad typing, which has hit social media in previous memes we've seen. But what was the atmosphere like at Zandvoort, and to actually get an opportunity to be there at the Red Bull Garage for that race, which he then eventually ended up winning?
I think the talking was really different compared to sitting together in Discord. I think we rarely talk about racing. It's like common topics. How the day was, what we have seen, what did we like. Like, he asked us a ton of stuff about the experience that we had at the GP. So I think that's just that's quite remarkable in the way he just cares about us. I mean, as you said, he sat down with us for 2, 3, 4 hours, having dinner with us at his home Grand Prix, and I can imagine that his schedule was quite tight. But the fact that he just found the time with us to sit down and have a nice time was just insane. And on top of that, the best thing was Chris Lalem was with us that weekend, but he had to do the PESC Quali Series race. And the thing is, like, he went back to our home base at Tilburg, drove the race, and Max didn't even care, took the remote of the TV and put the race on the TV in the Red Bull hospitality. So we were all sat there together, having some good Red Bulls, some good food, and watching Chris. So I mean, that's just, from there you can see that how much he cares and how much he's interested in all types of things that we are doing. So yeah, overall great experience. I would love to do it again next year or at some stage. And yeah, I can just tell he's a really nice guy, even in person. So I mean, that's not really surprisingly.
Well, Gianni, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me. Great to have you, Diogo and Ollie, with us. Hopefully we'll get you guys back again soon, because it was a lot of laughs, a lot of fun for everybody involved. But big thanks. Send our regards to Max. Send our regards to Dom as well, and the rest of the team. And all the very best of luck. Hopefully we see you again soon here on AMX Global.
Will do. I'm very sure we will see each other again. So have a nice Saturday. Maybe we see each other tomorrow in the TCR.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Gianni Vecchio.
Ciao, ciao.
And so that concludes our interview session here at AMX Global. And well, Brad, welcome back. Great to have those. Great to have some conversations there with Ollie Steinbrat and Diogo, with also Gael Valero. We actually heard what he sounds like when he speaks. So, but also great to hear from Gianni. He was talking a lot about. I asked him about the experience when Team Redline went to the Red Bull garages at Zandvoort for the Dutch Grand Prix, and it was really, really cool to see that Max was taking time out of his schedule. Now, we all know that Max Verstappen is a direct believer. So is Lando Norris, who's also a Team Redline alumni, actually won the Spa 24 Hours on iRacing a couple of years ago. Sim racing showcases that you might be the man who's at the front end of the field, the man who's the leading light in Formula One, but he will still put the wheel time in behind a sim rig, and to be part of the biggest powerhouse, without question, Team Redline, and to have his stamp. Because for those that don't know, Team Redline is also associated with Verstappen.com Racing, which is Max's own brand. That's why for us here at AMX Global, it means a hell of a lot to us, which is why myself and Brad have brought out retro and new school Red Bull here for this weekend, because it is also a Grand Prix weekend as well, isn't it?
It is. I'm probably going to nap after this race, because the fun of the Asian swing of the F1 weekend is 1 a.m. Green flag. So it's I've got into sim racing through Formula One. I grew up watching NASCAR And then went to college, didn't watch racing for a while, got back into Formula One, and actually through Formula One and cruising some forums, found my way back into racing leagues. And then from there, I've commentated for a league. And then the guys at AMX reached out to me one day and said, hey, we're looking for people to commentate. And it's a weird full circle moment for me that, is something, again, AMX Premier Sim Racing League can bring to the table. But it's really, really nice to be back. Kind of see the support that sim racing gets. When you think about it, the world champion Max Verstappen, Verstappen.com, supports sim racing, takes time to eat with the drivers, talk to the drivers, bring them along on an F1 weekend. I mean, that speaks to the levels that sim racing has in the real world. And especially, because he spends a lot of his time, I can think of multiple moments that have went around on social media of Max giving his honest feedback on different sim racing titles. Those sim racing titles listen and they say, oh, okay, this needs to change, and they do that based on a real life driver's feedback on how their sim feels compared to real life. Mm-hmm. It just shows that we're at this weird time, especially with the past few years, where sim racing and real life racing are overlapping, and it becomes very imperative that you're in tune on both.
Yeah, that's very, very true, because before the global pandemic, folks, where we were all confined to quarters as in our own homes, sim racing became that powerhouse that kept us all together. It really has gone up that paradigm shift, if you want to use John Moxley from AEW for a professional wrestling reference. That's his finishing move, but it has been a paradigm shift. But if you want to be involved with the premier, top tier, next level sim racing league, you've got to join us at amxrace.com. That's our official website. Big thank you as always to Upbit, to Next Level Racing, our Australian simulator specialists that are providing 2 fantastic prizes for the AMX 0 and the AMX 10 champions. Big thank you to them. Those prizes are in excess of $1,500 US combined. Someone's going to be lucky and pick up one of those sim rigs. Big thank you to BenQ with their range of high definition quality gaming monitors. Check out their Mobius range, the EX models with up to 144 Hertz refresh rate, and of course Automanics. Without them, that's the big pillar behind us here at AMX Global. Head to amxrace.com for further information. Sign-ups are carrying on at a rolling pace. Don't forget to hit us up on socials. You'll see everything all the way from Instagram right the way through to TikTok. Tomorrow night, join us for race day 3 out of 36. We've got the Ray Formula Ford 1600 and the front-wheel drive touring car that everybody loves. It's TCL. What's more, you're going to see another familiar face returning for Season 3 behind the caster, microphone and camera. On behalf of Brad, my name's Alex. Big thanks to the team in Korea for the broadcast as always. We'll see you tomorrow for day 3. Goodbye.